Hi, this is Derek Jordan. Welcome to the World Fusion Show, where we bring you the leading innovators in world fusion music. Today, my featured guest is Eugene Friesen, who is a composer, virtuoso cellist, teacher, and visionary musician. Eugene is maybe best known for his work with Paul Winter Consort, but he's also a member of Trio Globo, which is one of my very favorite world fusion groups. He also teaches at the Berklee School of Music, where he directs the Berklee World Strings. And welcome to Eugene Friesen.
Thank you so much, Derek.
Thanks for coming. How are you doing?
Doing great.
You're doing
Yeah.
all right. That's great. So I just wanted to start, where did you grow up and how did you get into music?
Well, my father was a musician. Both my parents were vocalists, church musicians mostly. So that was the first music that I really knew, was classical music, vocal music. They loved listening to the opera on Saturday afternoons, the Metropolitan Opera Live. And of course, a whole lifetime of music in the church. But then I heard the Beatles when I was in junior high.
You and me both.
And that was an early mind blower. You know, when I heard that cello on some of those tracks, I thought, wow, maybe the cello could be cool.
Oh yeah, right. Eleanor Rigby and all.
Yeah.
Great stuff. So you started playing the cello, and that's your main instrument. Your instrument. That's what you've played. You started with classical music.
Yes, I did. I mean, I started in school playing, the way that a lot of classical musicians begin, playing classical repertoire in school orchestras and taking private lessons and things like that. Yeah.
That's great. Now, one of my main reasons for wanting you on the show is because of a piece that you wrote called Maracaibo, which I think is just one of the best string quartets I've heard that really uses world fusion. There's a lot of rhythm in the strings. It's a very exciting piece. You want to talk a little bit about how you wrote it? It's got some Venezuelan influence, I guess. What's your process in doing that piece?
Well, it kind of came together from some separate elements. The main melody of the piece occurred to me just driving to the airport early one morning, and I jotted it down in some music paper at a rest area. And I brought it to a rehearsal with Glenn Velez, this percussionist I have worked with for many decades.
In Trio Globo.
Trio Globo and with the Paul Winter Consort. And he immediately identified it as being kind of a joropo rhythm from Venezuela. And he himself had been practicing this very distinctive maracas technique, two tiny little handheld maracas. And it just worked beautifully with that. And so as I began to familiarize myself with the rhythms and the polyrhythms that occur with the maracas, that really helped to kind of inspire and define how the rest of the rhythmic foundation for that piece. And it's so associated with Venezuela. And a friend of mine at that time was working with a sister city project and happened to be working with the city of Maracaibo. And so the title came from that as an honor to the sister city program and to the city of Maracaibo in Venezuela.
So I want to go to the video.
Great.
And we're going to see Four Corners String Quartet perform this piece. They were all students of yours as well, right?
Yeah, that's right.
At
And
Berklee.
a very interesting group. They literally come from the Four Corners. The violinist was born in Iraq, grew up in the country of Jordan, and plays a lot of Arabic music. And you'll hear some Arabic influences in his solo. The violist is from South Africa. The cellist is from Palestine, Nassim Alatrash. And then the second violinist, Ellen, is an American who does a lot of bluegrass and old-time music, but is also classically trained, and they've just got a great sound and a great versatility because of their background.
Yeah. Let's go to the video right now and get a sound of this. Yeah, fantastic. I just love that piece.
Thank you.
It's such a fabulous, fabulous piece. So you have a very strong background in classical music, as we said, but you're really unusual in that you're also a very good improviser. How did you get into improvising?
Well, it started with free improv. I had an impulse to create music that I think was kind of born from playing so-called contemporary classical music, more abstract music that was really developed in a way through academia, primarily in the 20th century. And I just found that I had a knack for using some of the extended techniques and more abstract techniques on the cello that lended itself really well to some of the more rhythmic settings that I was interested in from pop music and from some of the folk music that I love from Africa, from South America and stuff like that. So that was my entree, is really just improvising without worrying about scales, or about worrying about keys or anything like that.
No worries.
No wrong notes.
That's right. Now we're going to go to the next clip, which is a piece that called Shadow Play, where you really demonstrate some virtuosity and pizzicato. So anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, this piece was really inspired by a couple of different folk instruments from Africa that I've listened to a lot. One is the thumb piano, the mbira, and maybe we can play around with that a little bit later. I understand you have one. And the kind of interplay between fingers that the player uses on this seemingly simple instrument, is incredibly complex and layered rhythmically. And then the other instrument was the African harp, the kora, which again, it has two sets of strings going down a long fingerboard, and the player plays it with this interplay of fingers. So loving this music, I was contemplating how to wake up a little bit more rhythm from the left hand, which is traditionally, on a string instrument, the hand just for stopping the string, for holding down the strings. So Shadow Play exhibits some of the playing that I was doing, activating my left hand to get rhythm out of it.
Let's go to the clip right now and check this out. Great stuff.
Thanks.
Love that. So you work with Trio Globo, which includes Glenn Velez, who you mentioned earlier, on percussion, and Howard Levy on piano and accordion.
Harmonica.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, diatonic
accordion,
harmonica.
what am I saying? Harmonica, blues harp, in fact. And he often plays them at the same time,
Right.
which is really crazy. Now, Howard's one of my favorite musicians
Yeah, me too.
on the planet. I went to a concert of yours once, and Howard played Amazing Grace on the harmonica. And he modulated through 4 keys during the song. And at the end of the song, I turned to my wife and said, what he just did is impossible on the harmonica.
Right.
And without missing a beat in the microphone on stage, you said, you know what Howard just did is impossible on the harmonica. It's hilarious. Anyway, it's fantastic. What's it like playing with Trio Globo and with those guys?
Well, it's just like being in graduate school all the time. I mean, these are 2 of my absolute role model musicians, and I've learned so much from them, and I'm always feel challenged and kind of inspired to reach a little higher playing with them. Yeah, and I love it that we all 3 are composers, and so we each bring stuff to the group, but then it's also kind of synthesized within the group. So I feel like all of our writing kind of goes to a new level with all of our input in the group. So it's a wonderful collaboration.
I'd say, very much so. So I know being a teacher is really important to you, and you work at Berklee, the Berklee School of Music, where you direct the Berklee World Strings. You even performed a piece of mine.
Exactly, a
that's a
beautiful
string
piece.
orchestra piece
Yeah.
called Tubob, which I use that piece as the closing credits of this show, actually,
Great.
a different arrangement. But I wanted to say a few words, if you could, about your work there at the Berklee School of Music.
Well, it's a great privilege working with these, young players from all over the world who come from, I don't know how many countries, but we have a huge percentage of our student body is international at the Berklee College of Music. And these kids, like, I guess, all lucky kids in the world, come from families who have really supported their music and supported them and continue to do so.
Yeah.
So that's been wonderful, just to get to know these different families and the cultures that have supported the development of these beautiful artists, really. And with the Berklee World Strings, it's a creative group. I encourage the players who are chosen by audition to really consider this as their band. So we do a lot of kind of workshopping of student writing, and it usually features the kind of major strengths of some of the players in the group. This past semester, we had a fiddler from Scotland who did an original piece that, together with another student, arranged for the group. We had a wonderful Venezuelan cuatro player who did an arrangement of some Venezuelan folk tunes that we did with the group. We had a Palestinian qanun player, this kind of lap-held dulcimer of Turkish origin. And so we featured him with the group. And so you can see the menu of the music is quite broad, and we develop all our programs over the course of a semester. So by the time we give a concert, 2 or 3 months into the semester, it's usually music that has been created that very semester. So it's an exciting kind of creative workshop and playpen for all of us.
That's great. So I'd love to go to the next video, which is you conducting the Berklee World Strings with a Balkan choir.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
Can we do that? Go to that video, please. Great. We've got one more video clip, and I wanted to get to it because it's, again, with the Berklee World Strings, but it's another flavor. This one is Persian, and it's from a piece called The Passion of Rumi, and it features a wonderful singer. Who is the singer?
Maisa Kara was a Lebanese-born vocalist who is at the Berklee College of Music. And this is a piece that we found on YouTube by the Iranian composer Hafez Nazeri. So we transcribed it and arranged it for a string orchestra.
That's great. Let's go to the clip now. Yeah, just beautiful. Really nice. So I really want to thank you for coming on the show today and sharing your music with us. It's just been great. We're going to end the show, as we usually do, with some live in the studio improvisation. Get to play that kalimba and maybe some other things too. This is Derek Jordan, and thank you for joining us today on the World Fusion Show. Hope you enjoyed the show. And remember, think globally, listen locally, and support independent music.
Cha, cha.